everybody, I am the Sports Wiz 101, and today I'll be looking at my NFL predictions for the 2020 regular season. Now, here we will start with the AFC, and we will go to the division that I think houses the team that will get the 1 seed in this year's postseason, followed by the division I think will get the 2 seed, and so on and so forth. So, that means we start in the AFC West. So let's start at the bottom. Fourth place is the LA Chargers. I think this team is a bit underrated, and I think this team can definitely do some damage with that defense. Their offense sure might be a little boring, but that won't necessarily mean it's bad. In third place, I've got the Raiders. It's really going to be their defense, I believe, that keeps them back. I think that their offense, it could be argued, could sneak into the top 10, but that defense is going to keep them out. As for the Broncos, I've heard a lot of hype behind Denver, but all I see is a mediocre team with a tough schedule. That is not a formula for making the postseason. You can make the postseason a mediocre team, sure, but not with as tough a schedule as Denver has. So Denver, I don't see them as in the playoffs club. I see it more as we have the talent, but we're not going to be in the playoffs this year club. And you'll see who else is in it as we go through this. Right, moving on to our next division. Wait, hang on. I haven't even mentioned the Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs. They are the defending AFC West champions. Prior to the opt-outs, they had 20 of their 22 starters coming back. Now that number's more like 17 of 22. And I've got to think that in a year like this, without any preseason games, any of that, less time to gel, a team with the continuity of the Chiefs is going to have an easier time putting their pieces together than teams like, say, Tampa Bay, who now have their quarterback, but they just got him, or New England, and etc., etc. But anyway, Chiefs, of course, win the West. They're going to earn the top seed because they're going to win Week 3 against the Baltimore Ravens, who have the 2 seed. And let's start in fourth place of their division. The Bengals fall into the same club that the Broncos fall in. Do they have the talent? Yes. But a playoff spot is not to be expected at this point. Moving on, third place, it's the Cleveland Browns. I think last year their coaching was really the problem, but I think they somewhat solved that with adding Kevin Stefanski to the fold and kicking out Freddie Kitchens. Then you look at second place AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm high on Pittsburgh. I think they could very well be this year's San Francisco 49ers. Think about it. They have a good defense. They have a good coach. They're getting a quarterback back who missed most of the past year's regular season. There's only a couple of differences. Number one, that quarterback they're getting back is a bit older than Jimmy Garoppolo. It's Big Ben Roethlisberger, who's like 37 at this point, compared to Garoppolo being in his mid-20s. The other thing, even without Big Ben there last year, Pittsburgh was able to get to 500. without Jimmy G there, the 49ers only won 2 games. Yeah. But I don't think that adding Big Ben is going to hurt him. I think, if anything, adding Big Ben is going to help him. In fact, I think this division could be a bit closer than it might seem. I still have the Ravens winning, but I think the Steelers can definitely push them to week 16 or week 17 before the Ravens officially clinch the division. And I definitely have faith in the Ravens in the regular season. So let's move on to the AFC South. 4th place is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, each of these teams has a question I gotta ask, and the Jaguars is, are you as bad as I think you are? Because if they are, then you're looking at the number 1 overall pick in 2020. There's the 2021 draft. In 3rd place, I got the Colts. Their question is, which which Phillip Rivers did you get? Did you get 2018 Phillip Rivers, who can lead you back into the playoffs? Or did you get 2019 Phillip Rivers, the one who will lose more games than he'll win? You might fare a little better than the Chargers did last year, but because of that run game, that is. But I think you got 2019 Phillip Rivers, which means you're not going to make the playoffs. Then you have the Houston Texans. My question here, are you going to be able to depend on Deshaun Watson? Will he be able to Superman you into the playoffs? Because I know he can do that. We've seen that before. In a year where it definitely seemed like the Texans would struggle to even make the playoffs, not only did they make the playoffs, they won their division. But still, the question remains, will he be able to do it this time without his number 1 wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins? I just don't see it. Because in number 1, the Tennessee Titans, whose question is, was last year a fluke? Are they going to be able to keep up what they were able to do at the end of last season? With Mike Vrabel still the coach there? I think the answer is yes. I think the Titans are going to be the top tier team in the AFC South. It's going to be a battle between them, the Texans, and the Colts in future seasons over this AFC South. And this year, I think the Texans, they're not going to win the division. But the Titans, they got what it takes to win the AFC South and earn the 3 seed. Moving on to the last division, the AFC East. Now in 4th place is the New York Jets. This is a make it or break it type season coming up for Sam Darnold. Now, this defense is going to struggle a bit more after they trade away Jamal Adams. So Sam Darnold is going to need to show the ability that the Jets saw in him when they drafted him. I just don't see it. And the Jets will fall to last place. Then you got the Dolphins. They're in the same club as the Bengals and Broncos. Teams with talent, but don't expect playoffs this year. They have the talent known as Tua Tagovailoa. And they are building a decent team down there in Miami. But don't expect a playoff berth just yet. And then the top two teams. I struggle with determining which way I should go with them. And then the Patriots signed Cam Newton. And I decided, you know what? Then that means there's two questions I have to answer. Number one, is Cam Newton the primary starter? Number two, is Cam Newton going to be good Cam Newton? Maybe not necessarily MVP Cam Newton, but the type of Cam Newton that would lead the Panthers into the playoffs. I think yes. And I think that Cam Newton will lead the Patriots to another AFC East title. However, if the answer to either of those questions turns out to be no, if Cam Newton's not the primary starter, or Cam Newton just doesn't show good Cam Newton, then I think the Bills win the East, and which means someone not named the Patriots would win this division for the first time since 2008. So let's take a look at how the playoff seeding would look. There you go. AFC playoff seeding, I got the Chiefs winning the West, top seed. Ravens at the 2, Titans the 3, Patriots the 4. And how about your 3 wild cards? That would be Steelers, Bills, and Browns. I have faith that all 3 of those teams will be wild cards come playoff time.